Welcome and welcome back, everybody. Tabletop Toki here, and in today's video we'll be doing a quick preview and overview of Piri Piri Summoners from Mokuomo games. I'll be going over some of the components as well as a basic overview of how the game is played and sharing some of my thoughts about this preview copy at the end of the video. A huge shout out to Mokuomo for providing me with a copy of Piri Piri Summoners to share with y'all here today. So let's take a look at what's inside the box. Piri Piri Summoners is a strategy game for 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up. You'll be playing cards to a central grid, trying to summon all 3 of your spirits before your opponents by making certain patterns of cards. For setup, put all the mana in a pile and deal up 5 cards to the offer row. Each player will get 3 spirits, 4 cards, a player pawn, and 8 mana. On your turn, you're going to take a card off the top of the deck and add it to your hand. When playing cards, you'll put them in the central grid and mark them with your player pawn. Alternatively, you can pay 1 mana to take one of the 5 face-up cards from the offer row. If you don't want to play a card to the grid, you can tuck one under the bottom of the deck instead. In order to play cards adjacent to one another, they'll have to be of a stronger number than the card they're placed next to, or of a stronger suit, which is indicated in the bottom left of the card. Alternatively, players can also play cards diagonally adjacent to any cards without restrictions. In order to flank a card, 2 cards of stronger suits will be placed on either side of a central card. That card will be removed from the game, and if the player has a player pawn there, they will have to give a mana to the player who flanked their card. Additionally, cards can be summoned in a similar way. Once the requirements in the bottom left corner are met, they will remove all of the cards used to summon, and again, if they remove player pawns, they will steal mana from those players. You'll additionally get mana for the strength of the card that you summon. The player who summons all 3 spirit cards first wins the game. So there you have it. That is a quick overview of Piri Piri Summoners. If it wasn't obvious, the component quality of this game is being that it was designed as a game and a piece of decor. And this is pretty par for the course with all of Mokuomo's games. Additionally, the tokens, the card quality, all of it is fantastic. I really love the unique art on all of the different spirit cards as well. As far as the gameplay and mechanics, the objective is very straightforward, and what you do on your turn is pretty cut and dry. There are a couple of little rules things like using certain spirits to summon higher value spirits or how cards can get replaced, but overall it's pretty straightforward, and I would say that the age range of 8 and up is pretty appropriate for this one. With the depth of strategy, this one does play very different at 2 players versus 4. At 2, it does feel a little bit more like an abstract puzzle game. There may be more opportunities for take that or not based on your play style, but in a 4-player game, you're definitely going to be interacting with other players a lot more, and the state of the board is going to change wildly between turns. So if you're on the side of the fence where you like a little bit more control and strategy and planning ahead in your games, you may want to play this at a lower player count, but if you're just there for the chaos and along for the ride, then at higher player counts, this could be a really fun take that game as well. The distribution of the random summon cards could also go one way or the other. On one hand, having higher summon cards does provide you with more mana, which gives you more flexibility if you're able to execute them, but it can be a little bit tricky based on the specific distribution of how many cards you get, of what types of suits, and how many players, because again, in a 4-player game, all the spirit cards will be out, so everybody will have equal opportunities to make those patterns, whereas in a 3-player game or a 2-player game, the spirit cards that you get may combo with each other or other players' spirits well or not. Overall though, I think this is a delightful little package of a game. There are some interesting things that you can do with pattern making on the board, and if you're a fan of take that games, Piri Piri Summoners certainly has that in spades, along with gorgeous presentation. So if you're interested in checking out more about Piri Piri Summoners and getting a copy for yourself, I've put a link down in the description to the crowdfunding site for Piri Piri Summoners from Mokuomo. And again, a huge shout out to them for providing me with a copy for preview and overview here today. And that's about all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, click the like down below. You can also subscribe for more board game goodness in the future. Thanks as always for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.